Hey everyone, we're doing a lighting swap today. We're gonna take out this main light in the kitchen and we're gonna replace it with 5 pot lights. We're gonna have one here to replace this light which has the junction box, and then we'll add some in here, over in this area, and behind me, just trying to keep symmetry throughout this space. So if you'll note, this room is quite dark. We are trying to lighten up some of the darker features, so more light is definitely necessary in this space. So I'm going to start by taking this light off. So every light is different, and this isn't a one is all kind of deal. This one has a little threaded nipple in the middle, and that's just going to slide the light down after. It's going to have a spider web at the top. You can see that. So we're just going to want to disconnect all of these. We can see obviously that the light is on, so we'll turn that off before we disconnect it. But you want to take all of this out and take pictures of how it looks before you start disassembling anything. So usually I wouldn't remove the ground first, but this ground is definitely in the way. So I'm gonna remove this one. That's just grounding the light. I know the light is off, so it's not gonna hurt me. This person decided to use the world's longest screw on this spider web. All right. So I know that I'm not going to use this light again, so I'm going to snip these just so I can take the light off. I know that it's dead, so I can snip both at the same time. If you're feeling uncomfortable, take the white, snip it first, then snip your black. Make sure you're holding the light so it doesn't fall. First step done. So here we can see, because this white was attached to your light before, this is your neutral, but we do see a white that's attached to all of these hots. Under the old code rules in Canada, you could send your power down on your white and bring it back up as a hot here by itself. You can see it's going by itself there. So this goes down to the switch from the hot, brings power down the switch, and then up here to your light. So remember which one that is, because it's going to have to go back to the hots. So here I have my Klein Voltic. This circuit is still hot. The reason for that is because of what I just explained. They're bringing hot to the box here, and then they're bringing it down the switch leg and up this side. So make sure you disconnect this at the breaker before you move forward. This is why you label your panels, so that everything you know what's in there. So here, when I take this off, I am going to label that white with some red tape, because I know that all the reds, or sorry, all the blacks and all the other whites go together. So now we do see that the circuit's dead. There's no live wires here anymore. So now we're just labeling that. And then what we're gonna do is straighten out all the wires, take them out of the junction box. And then, because our pot light comes with its own junction box, we'll feed everything into that junction box. So undo your white. I'm just loosening off the Lumex straps that are inside the octagon. So the one thing that I am seeing right now, looking in this octagon, is I'm not seeing any mounting screws on the inside of the octagon. That's not great, but it's not terrible. You can either take a saw from the inside down here and cut, or we can try to go up in the roof and cut the box down. I am gonna just try to push on this box because it feels very loose. And hopefully it will just push up into the ceiling and then we can pull it out after. So, oh, see now pushing on it, I'm noticing that there's a bracket here. This is an older style of mount. Up in the roof space here, there'll be a little bracket that's over the top of the octagon. By taking out this screw, that's what holds it to the bracket. Now it shouldn't fall out because the Lumex itself should be kind of holding it there. Now I like to straighten all this and make sure it's not gonna give me any issues. I know there's the ground. You see me straightening that because it was curled around the ground screw. And I got another ground I got to take out over there. And the reason why I'm not just snipping these wires off and then finding it after is because I don't know how much slack is in the roof. And I don't want to make it so that I'm gonna cut it and then I'm not gonna have any slack in the roof to be able to make my connections to my light. So, just trying to do a little bit of risk assessment. So I'm gonna push those back into the roof space. Be prepared, when you do this, you are gonna make a mess. The roof, the stipple chips down, and everything that's inside the box wants to fall on your head. See how when I get those Lumex wires, now the box wants to come down. I'll just get them all out of our way. So now it comes down nice and easy. And now I have a perfect hole for my pot light to go into. All I gotta do is wire all of this and then connect a new feed to go to my first light, and then we can daisy chain all the lights together. Now that we have our junction box out, we're gonna start cutting holes for our other lights. We wanna make sure that all of our lights are kind of cut and put in place before we start doing anything. So here I'm measuring off of this countertop here. I have my laser here. I'm just gonna measure 2 different points to make sure. You can see the laser on 4 inches there, and you can see the laser on 4 inches again. Now we know that we're straight with this counter, and we're not gonna have wonky lights. So here I'm just checking to make sure that our joints and joists are open. So that right there, I definitely pushed past the stud there. There's no way a fish stick that long is going through this space. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to force the stick the way that I want it to go. So I'm trying to find my laser over there, right? And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut out my hole and I'm gonna find my fish stick. So I'm just making sure here that, because the countertop is 25, he's sitting basically over top, but I want to be out past the counter. I want the light to be sitting basically over top. So I'm just marking 28. I'm gonna draw a good little X there. So, because we have a 4-inch pot light, you can read on the pot lights that you're using, but on our pot light it says it's good for 4 1/8 up to 4 3/8. So we're gonna use a 4 1/8 hole saw to try to make our lives a little easier. So I wanna make sure my pilot, and just nice and slow, watch when the hole saw goes up into the drywall, because it might try to grab. So I'm slowing it down as my pilot goes in. Yeah, that's why we bring a vacuum. So now I'm gonna reach up and I'm gonna try to find my fish stick that we sent over here. And the reason why you go slow too, I know you guys can't see, but above my hand here, I'm feeling 3 different Lumexes. So you don't wanna just go full send when you put that hole saw in there, because you never know what's above your head. I must be hitting that next piece of stud there. Just sitting in the inside. It doesn't want you to go that way? Okay. There's no way you're getting up here, Emily, either.
Really?
Yeah. It's tiny. This is like a belly crawler. No, there's no way. Okay. Javelin it is. Here too is because I thought this would be the easiest one, and it would be, you know, super chill and just get our lights in and call her a day. Oh, not this. I just wonder if that's long enough. So you just want to make sure it's long enough that it's going to get over to that point. You want to be careful when you send a javelin in, because you don't want to hit any wires that are strapped up to the wood. Now I know there's no way to tell if you are doing that or not, but be careful, I guess, is the only advice I can give. Okay, so I'm gonna send my javelin bit in before I attach it to my drill. Just trying to mitigate some of the risk of hitting any wires. So, in case you guys didn't know, because I forgot to film it, we found a stud that runs from here and it runs all the way across here. It's 2 sheets, it goes from the top, the bottom. We did try to change our plan and access everything from the attic, but when we went up to the attic, it's very small and it's blocked off in quite a few areas to try to get past. So, third option is to try to send the javelin through here. making sure there's a good connection so I'm not gonna lose my expensive bit in there. Okay, I feel like I'm hitting something solid there. So I'm gonna try to drill that javelin in. Yeah, I'm not hitting anything I want to be hitting. Try again.
So they'll be looking for the ceremony.
Oh, they're still gonna do the ceremony, eh? That's sweet magic right there. So now we're going to take this end, we're going to put our Lumex wire on there and we're gonna pull it back through into this box, and then we'll start daisy chaining all our lights to that. Yeah, I'm gonna do it too. I'm gonna have that same style. Oh yeah, for sure. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so we're gonna pull this back through. And that should be enough to splice onto. We'll cut that tape off and we'll start working our way around the room. Okay, we'll throw that javelin through there. This is easier with the javelin because I know I'm going straight on. Yeah. So the chances of me like sliding out and like wrecking a bunch of stuff is pretty slim. Okay, so hopefully we're going to be able to find our javelin in the roof there. And what we have here is our, well, it's called a horsecock. You put this through there, you pull it out one of the holes, just any one, there doesn't have to be any rhyme or reason. And that's going to create support there. Tuck that in there, fold that over. Now we're going to tape this whole thing up. But see this little joint here? That's going to go on where that auger was. So I'm going to reach my hand up in there. I'm going to pull the auger out. I'm going to attach this, and then I'm going to use my javelin to pull that back out. All right, let's see if we can find this. think it went though. Okay, so what happened just a second ago as we sent our javelin through, we couldn't find it on the other side, so I tried pushing a fish through this. And you can see it's through the other side. I'm not sure how. I think we just went through a little slit in the studs, or maybe found a different hole someone was using, but I'm gonna use that and I'll try to get my javelin out later. So we're gonna tape this on just like we did with the other ones. Now you can see that I'm taping like so that the end is going through somewhat smoothly. If you end up with something for stuff to grab on, it's going to grab on that. So try to make your tape smooth. Try to fill in any bumps or ridges you may have where the wire kind of connects to it. And then you should be able to pull it through nice and smoothly. Like we know what we're doing.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay. That's okay.
I just try to get the most professional content I can get.
Yeah.
That's what I'm about. I don't care who provides it. Like, and I also, you know, you gotta get some bang for your buck too, right? Like, I wanna feel valued at the end of the day too. So, I'm gonna mark these again. We got our laser up. We should be good there. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're gonna try to push another fish through. At this point, I am expecting nothing. Hoping for the best. See if we can get one without having to cut and edit it together. Oh, where are you? Emily, I just don't think it's long enough. Do you think you could go get the other fish stick out of the car, the truck there? Yeah, drop the tailgate. It's on the left side, on the back of the truck. Oh, there it is. Just kidding, Emily. It's right there. It's just a little too short for you guys to see without me pulling it through, but there it is. And the other end of the fish stick is over there. So you probably will use the other fish stick just to pull it out and make it easier. That's good. Good. Okay, Amelie, let's go. Yeah, pull that, make sure you're not scratching anything. Keep going. Just keep bending it, yeah, good job. Good, all right. So this is the pot light that we like to use for all our retro mounts. The reason for it is because it's so thin You can see there, if you ended up cutting your hole and let's say the stud was in the middle, the stud would actually sit here and this would still close in on the drywall. And then you have your junction box, which gets put up into the roof space. It doesn't have to be physically mounted, which makes it really easy for retro jobs. Let's push this last fish in. So my hand on the inside is trying to guide that fish stick to where I want it, obviously because it's wanting to bend. Oopsie. All right, we're hitting on something here, so we'll try from the other side and see if we can get it.
You think it's because it's a older house, eh?
Yeah, just because it's an older house, and like maybe when they did a little bit of the renos, they just kind of add things in.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm moving it, and I feel it. Whoop whoop. Nice. Okay, so now we got all our wires in, and they're all at the locations we need. All our holes are cut. So now we can start installing our pot lights. So usually I start at the hardest one and work my way to the easiest one. So I'm going to put the original octagon back up there. We'll put a cover on it. The reasoning for that is because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including my new wire, which is too many wires for our small junction box that comes with the Razor. So we'll have a little pigtail basically coming off of here. And then this is what's gonna feed our first pot light, the Razor junction box. So you can see all I did was look at my picture that I had beforehand. I hooked up the box the exact same way it was before, except for now I have one new lead in here that's tied onto my neutral, and it's also tied onto the switch leg that brought the power up. That was the black, not the white that we taped, but the black that was actually attached to the light that was here. Now I'm gonna put this cover on, and then I'm gonna strip that piece of Lumex, and then we can put our pot light in. And since this is considered accessible here in Canada, I am allowed to put this junction box up in the roof space. A little bigger, not much though. I'm just gonna take my keyhole saw here because I couldn't fit the junction box in without pushing on the drywall too much. I'm creating a bit of pressure here. I'm gonna cut that hole out so it's the size of 4 1/8. You remember how to put in a pot light, right?
Yep.
Well then, there you go. Okay, let's see if that will go back up now. I got the power. Ready, Steven? Okay, now we're just gonna strip this Lumex and install to the world's easiest pot light. Could I get a 4004, please? So just so you can see too, there's these little quick connects in here. You are allowed to use those, so just strip a little bit and then you can push it in there. It's a pressure fitted connector. I'm gonna try to do this so that you can see. So you just push that in, pull it out of your junction box. Gotta get some strippers, Emily. Yeah, I'll take yours. So we stripped all the wire. We're just gonna do our connections. You see me just push that in and then give it a jiggle so that I know that it's in there good. So all those are in. Just take them, fold them over, get them back into that junction box. Take your light here. So these lights have a different setting on them. Obviously, you're gonna have to figure out what you wanna do for your setting before you put them in. You can't change them after, you'll just have to take it out. So we're gonna do a 3000 because that's the lighting temp that we got for everything in this home. You just push that in. There is a little groove on there, so you can't mess that up. Yeah, there's a little groove right there, so you can't mess it up. It goes in the groove on the top end here. And then you just turn that connector. And then this guy also gets pushed up in the roof. And then we take these tabs. So because this isn't needing to be watertight, I'm gonna take the watertight ring off so that I can get a better seal around the roof. Perfect. Now we do the other 4. So mechanically twist all your wires together till you know you got nice good connection. And then I just twist that, like so I bring that down, just twist that around with my fingers so that I know it's making good contact. Because you're using 2 different types of wire, splicing them together can be a bit of a pain. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull on this one, which I know is gonna be my pain, and make sure it's under that moret. And I know I have good connection there because I can't pull it out. It's twisting those strands in there. And then I just take that and fold it in. And because you have so many wires going into this space, you're gonna have to be a bit neat, right? Perfect. Now do the whites and the blacks. The saying is best to be looking at it than looking for it. Do you like all my sayings? They're great, aren't they?
Amazing.
Hey, if they help one person remember one thing, that's all it takes. in, send it up into the roof. And attach your light with the groove. And if you're ever having to take these lights out, be careful, because this thing is like a mousetrap. So my word of advice is always just kind of rock it, see where that piece is, and try not to slam your fingers like I almost just did on camera. Perfect. Okay, so now we have all these lights changed over to pot lights. We're gonna have to go downstairs and turn the breaker back on to see that everything works the way it should. You can see that the look in here is a lot better. This project did take us 4 hours. We were also obviously shooting this content at the same time, so it did take a little bit longer. On a good day, this could take 2 hours, but this is the finished project. Kitchen. Okay, so now that we have all our lights turned back on with the power, we're just gonna flick the switch. And you can see now the different light that's in here. It's a lot brighter and it's a lot cleaner. And somebody who's standing over here isn't being blocked by a light that's behind them. There's direct light down on all the countertops. So this client should be happy with their new lights in their kitchen.